there. So I've had no fewer than 6 emails in the last week about people that have been weight restored recently. So it's either people that chose the Christmas period to really target weight restoration, those that had used the last sort of year or so that we've been through of lockdown of realising this was a time they wanted to focus on weight restoration, some who ended up very poorly towards the back end of last year and ended up in residential units, and some from parents who've helped their loved one get to a point of being weight restored. But for all of them, the common thread is weight restored and what? Weight restored and panicking, weight restored and anxious, distressed, scared. And also, on top of all that anxiety, for those of you that are weight restored, the number of you saying, and now I'm confused because people don't think I'm sick anymore, and yet my head still feels really confused. And in fact, probably feels even more confused, even more upset, even more anxious, even more worried about food than perhaps you ever were before. So I get that, and it's a really important point to embrace, to discuss, to consider, to be articulating your thoughts, whether that's to somebody else or on paper. It's really important you go through that, you sit through that period and you understand how it's making you feel, because to ignore that phase sends you into that sort of downward spiral where before too long you're picking up your trainers again and getting out for another run because you're feeling a little bit restless, or you're paring back on your food again because you're thinking, oh, I can't really justify that because I'm weight restored now, or you're just feeling like, oh, you're just going to make an excuse about that meal time, and because you know that people aren't perhaps quite as worried about you as they once were when you were really, really tiny, and now because they see you weight restored, they're not saying, oh, please eat, please eat, please eat. You don't need to justify. You don't need permission to eat at any point. You don't need permission to rest. You don't need permission to do anything that is going to continue to get your body healthy. What you need to remember is that whatever the scales say, whatever that bloody BMI chart has said, whether you've been now discharged from inpatient or community treatment, or you've just weight restored to what you thought your suitable set point was, whatever those numbers say, there's still a significant period for you to go to get mentally well again. So that mental rehabilitation, that neural rewiring that needs to happen takes a long, long time after your body has restored. So that's just one part of it. The body is just the one physical bit of it. What you're in danger of doing now, if you panic, is slipping backwards, and it would just be all too easy, and then you could be stuck in this perpetual cycle of quasi-recovery, which you'll have heard us talk about so many times, and that's a painful area to be. You don't want to be in that place. So the point at which you're weight restored is, it's great, congratulations to you, and a celebration is absolutely due, but you have to keep the momentum going. If anything, what weight restoration should tell you is, I can do this bit. So I've done this bit, now I must restore, rebuild myself, repair. Go back to the analogy I always talk about, this flipping broken leg scenario I talk about. So imagine the broken leg has healed enough that the cast has come off. You wouldn't then go and immediately start to play football. You wouldn't immediately say, I'm going to go and climb Everest, because that leg needs to heal. It's going to take a while to do so. You're going to have to get used to how that leg feels. You're going to have to get used to how it feels as part of your body. What can it achieve? What can't it achieve? How do you feel? Do you feel confident in your body to lean your weight onto that leg again? In the same way, you've got to get used to that restored body while still repairing the mind. So just remember, it's a step process. Don't undermine how valuable and important it is that you still consider this work to do beyond weight restoration. Okay, take care.